Davis Mills and the Texans will be in the Mile High City taking on Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. One of the storylines from this really offseason, and especially after week one, is the offensive line communication. Will they protect Davis Mills? Justin Britt talked a little bit about some of that miscommunication they experienced week one.
If there's communication there, then, it starts with me. Being the voice of the O-line, the guy who sets it all. So, there was a false started for something that shouldn't have happened. I was late on a snap and Titus false start again shouldn't have happened. So just things like that.
A lot of these things happen in that fourth quarter.
But I know you and others were with Justin Britt thinking to themselves, "Whoa,
yeah,
he was not good."
It was him
Sunday.
And there was somebody else.
Laremy Tunsil had a bad moment too.
Yeah, him and Laremy Tunsil, I think.
But Titus Howard had a bad moment too.
Yeah.
I think the offensive line. You know what? This is a better offensive line than it was last year, and I think you always have to remember this in week one. The offensive line in week 17 is going to be almost always way better than it is in week one, even with the injuries that are suffered over the course of a year. They, I think, will develop a little bit of chemistry together. On paper, they are significantly more talented than the unit that we saw last season, and it was cool to see Kenyon Green get more playing time as the game wore on. I like hearing Britt acknowledge the miscommunication. Tunsil talked about the miscommunication after the game. I got to say, though, this is about the worst possible place to get better at communication. I know we talk about, hey, the home field advantage in Denver of being the altitude. I think Broncos fans are some of the best fans in football.
Really? You don't often hear that.
I think that they are forgotten as far as a crowd that can actually get under your skin. 3rd and 10, you throw an incomplete pass. Incomplete. I think that Broncos fans have always been fantastic, and that is going to be, especially for Russell Wilson's debut, a rowdy fan base. With Davis Mills looking the way that he did at the end of that game, and with Justin Britt and the offensive line having the miscommunications, like the biggest disadvantage that the Texans are going to have going into that game is dealing with that noise. And they got to be better with the communications. It was awful in week one in a crowd that was not anywhere close to being 100% full. Have to be better than that.
What do you feel coaching staff-wise? Because we know...
That's the edge.
I feel like Lovie Smith is a much stronger head coach than Nathaniel Hackett from the very, very, very small sample size we've seen from Nathaniel Hackett. But you also have the element of Pep Hamilton and whatnot.
That's the one advantage you have going into Sunday, because I think that Denver out-talents you across the board. I think the running game is better than yours. I think they have better receivers, clearly. They have in their tight end that they were actually using in the Monday night game against Seattle. He looked good. Russell Wilson's obviously way better than Davis Mills, no matter what annoyances I might have with Russ. Defensively, I thought that as the game went on, Denver got better and better. Bradley Chubb had a really good game for the Broncos. So the only advantage you have in this game is Lovie Smith. And maybe in Pep Hamilton, but I mean, are you feeling great about Pep Hamilton after week one? Like, that is it. Because right now, Nathaniel Hackett, if we're doing coaching power rankings, he's got to be 32 or 32. I mean, you got Russell Wilson under center, and that was a pathetic performance, and you have him questioning himself like after the game, like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have made that decision. Like, ooh.